They're everywhere. But again, it creates the sentiment that maybe these conferences should govern themselves, put their own rules in place, which have tangible penalties. Because in a sport like the NFL or in a league like the NFL, if you violate these, there's salary cap penalties, there's draft pick penalties, there's all sorts of ramifications that can severely limit what you're able to do and act in this regard. And that is a big part of the reason why there's a desire for some kind of structure. It does not bother me as much as a fan because I just believe if Tech and Virginia want to commit financially, they may not keep everybody around, but we've seen Virginia willing to spend money, and it's brought them success in football this past season, and I think we can safely say so far in basketball as well this season. We're seeing Virginia Tech diving in. Who knows how they'll do in the ACC schedule? Find out tonight, 8:30 airtime, 9 o'clock tip at Syracuse to see if the Hokies can get back above the 3-3 mark in ACC play. But they look like a team that is competent, and you can at least make a compelling case, could make the NCAA tournament based on how they're getting Toby Lawal back healthy, as well as, if they can gel in their core pieces. They're investing in football now. So I don't believe in that you can't do it in this day and age. I look at it as though it's hard to have an emotional attachment to a player at any school now. I think you can have them. They're a rare breed, but Zach Cleveland, Colin Porter, Caden Matheny at Liberty, I think it's absolutely worth appreciating them. But the majority of players, Tech, UVA, even Liberty football players, JMU, I can appreciate Alonzo Barnett. Got you to the college football playoff, graduated, and then went and took the bag. I can respect and appreciate that. It's like the guys that, spent 3 years or so at a Duke or a Carolina back in the day and then would declare for the NBA draft. But guys like Zach Cleveland are becoming more rare than ever, which is part of where you can gain a level of appreciation for them if you're a fan of one of those schools, because most of these guys are not. Now, you can appreciate the coaches. I appreciate Mike Young at Virginia Tech, Ryan Odom at Virginia, Coach Mox and Megan Duffy in women's basketball at Virginia and Virginia Tech, respectively, Alexis Sherrard and McKay and Chadwell at Liberty, Spradlin and now Billy Napier at JMU, Ronnie at Old Dominion. I think you can appreciate them and recruit and root for what they and their programs stand for. But in this era, I don't fault the players for going about this. I don't fault the chaotic nature of how things have gone. And it's why you don't get a lot of it. But the one rarity is appreciating someone like a Zach Cleveland, Colin Porter, and Caden Matheny. And Zach Cleveland, who was honored with them, saying something like this after the game this past Saturday against UTEP.
It was awesome. I mean, it feels like Caden started his career here, So just having two other guys that this are your brothers on and off the court to go out there with an accomplishment. That's a special thing to do. I think it's a testament to our unselfishness. Having 3 guys go out there at one time, I'm sure that doesn't happen too often. So it was a special moment for sure. And we'll probably hang that one up in the man cave someday.
No doubt he will. It's a moment that you can appreciate. It's a bond of players, but you root for coaches more now than ever. You root for programs now more than ever. But in the revenue sports, it may be different, and I think it can be. In a sport like softball, where Liberty's had players stick around for a while, Virginia and Virginia Tech as well. Baseball is an example of it. Lacrosse, soccer, you can root for players, but it's harder in the revenue-generating sports because they're going to go to the highest bidders, and a lot of these guys have a limited earning power, which, again, it's why we'll get more into this Friday in the fast lane, but Tony Bennett Court being announced on Saturday, how people resonate with this, and now more than ever is the comment Tony Bennett made the last time he made a public appearance at UVA at halftime of the Georgia Tech game, where the 1999 championship team was honored last season in early February of 2025.
And Dan, I can remember when I got this job, you said, son, if you're going to build a program at Virginia, try to find players and hire coaches that are all about the pillars. And if you find that, if they'll go through the adversity with you and stick with it for the long haul, you just might have a chance to touch something great. And you know what? When I look at all those ACC championships, and I look at that national championship banner, which might be the last amateur national championship banner, I think we touched greatness. We touched greatness with them.
Stick with it. Look, again, I don't blame players. It's hard to stick with it when someone offers you more money and you're probably not going to capitalize on it beyond the college realm. It's limited earning potential. And if you're smart, and I know a lot of these guys are not, But if you're smart, you can use it as a jump point and a launch point to your career. But Tony Bennett's also right, and people love him and appreciate him. And I think you'll appreciate the coaches. But Tony Bennett, calling it the last amateur championship, he's not wrong. When we return to the Fast Lane, we'll get into the weeds on Liberty and Virginia Tech. They both play this evening, 7:30 for the Flames, 9 o'clock, 8:30 airtime, VTR and Sports app for the Hokies. Liberty's at Western Kentucky. Virginia Tech is at Syracuse. Plus, the Fast Five at 5-ish. And then high school sports, navigating Snowmageddon 26 with Bob Alvis of the Sports Buffet podcast around 5:45 today here in the Fast Lane on the VTR and Sports app and Ask That Smart Speaker, open VTR and Sports.
Mark Dalton here with Terry Volkswagen. Get ready to fall head over heels for the perfect VW SUV. One size doesn't fit all, though, and that's why Volkswagen has an SUV for everyone. From the compact and affordable Volkswagen Taos to the tech-packed Tiguan and the spacious Volkswagen Atlas. No matter which one fits your lifestyle, you'll love the comfort, performance, and safety. Stop by Terry Volkswagen on Forest Road in Lynchburg or check us out online at terryvw.com. Terry Volkswagen. You'll love our cars.
There's short-term and there are long-term benefits from solar. We're discussing that right now with Corey Argentino from Earthright Mid-Atlantic and Earthright Roofing. Corey, in the short term, everyone knows about power rates, utility rates, and all the bills that go up during the winter months. How can solar help alleviate that pain?
Well, solar gives you a guaranteed, predictable bill. So take a bill that's a variable and make it a definite. So you know what you're going to pay every month. You know when your bill comes, what that bill is going to be. Really important, gives you peace of mind inside your home.
In addition to that, there's a long-term possibility with the blackouts being more likely by 2030, and that's according to the DOE, which is certified study. How important is it for a long-term investment to have solar on the radar?
Well, solar and batteries, the wave of the future. In the next 10 years, you're going to see every home come with solar and battery storage. So really, it's like get in early, because when first-time rolling blackouts come, our phones will be ringing so much we won't be able to answer. So it's a way to get predictability, sustainability, and keep your family safe.
To learn more, it's easy. See the Earthright showroom on Timberlake Road in Lynchburg and visit earthright.com.
Hi, I'm Chuck from Aquatrack Adventures in Salem. The Virginia Talk Radio Network and InsaneRadioDeals.com have helped our company grow by sharing our company's message throughout Central and Southside Virginia. The gift cards and experiences sold on InsaneRadioDeals.com have brought us many new customers. If you're a business that wants to grow with a message that resonates and gets results, I highly recommend InsaneRadioDeals.com and the Virginia Talk Radio Network. Simply put, it works.
The holiday season may have passed, but the deals at InsaneRadioDeals.com, they're everlasting, especially when it comes to your favorite food joints in the Lynchburg area, like 801 Raw Bar and Oliver's on Rivermont, the Caribbean Jerk Pot, Yamada, the Yard on 5th Street, Ballard Brewing, and Downtown Cairo. $50 gift cards for only $37.50. Deals that you can only get at InsaneRadioDeals.com. So start your New Year's and your taste buds off right with these local food joints.
Somewhere in one of these buildings around here behind us at the Liberty University football complex, somebody on Monday came up with the ingenious idea that we get to highlight on this TrostLaw.com fast take about CJ Daniels and wishing the former LU wide receiver good luck as his Miami Hurricanes took on and would ultimately lose the national title to Indiana. It begs the question, shouldn't JMU be doing and have done the same thing with all the former Dukes on the national champion Hoosiers and the promotional opportunities that program could provide?
VTR and Sports, powered by ESPN Radio, is presented by Oliver's on Rivermont, now featuring new ownership, new staff, and a new chef with the consistent experience that you crave.
Step into the Fast Lane 24/7 at Trey Lyle VT and Fast Lane Ed Lane on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, back to the Fast Lane.
I think one of my new favorite sound bites is
Why?
from Good Burger. I love that movie, by the way, as you might know if you've listened to the Fast Lane long enough. But it's part of where we begin the Fast Five at 5-ish.
It's time for Fast Five at 5-ish. 5-ish minutes on 5 relevant topics done around 5 p.m.-ish. Ish, because our counting skills are kinda ish. Let's start with number 5.
So Duke is probably asking the ACC and Jim Phillips to back me up on this. But if you're Jim Phillips, the question is, why? Because why would you want to alienate and upset Miami? This is the ACC's dilemma right now with the whole Darian Mensah leaving one ACC school, Duke, reportedly for another one, Miami. And Duke wanting to stop it in court, but Miami looking for ways to get it to go through so they can have a competitive football program once again, just like this past year's team, which came up just short of the national championship. If you're the ACC, I would side with Miami on this. And here's the basic business reason why. For so long, they have tried to structure their conference on what makes sense for the little guy, rather than what makes sense for the bigger brands and elevating them and either adapt or die. Because the reality is the ACC stands to gain more by Miami being good or Virginia Tech, Florida State, Clemson joining in and getting their act together on this as well. What's the upside of Duke keeping Mensah when they're probably a mid-level ACC program? They had them this past year and they may have, quote, won the ACC, end quote. But Duke also was in a spot where, let's not kid ourselves, the ACC's tiebreakers put them in the game, and then it's hashtag so ECC for Duke to win the game against Virginia. The reality, again, let's keep it real because that's what you do. But if you're the ACC, I do stay out of this. And ultimately, I probably secretly want Miami to prevail because I want other programs that are committed to winning enough so the ACC can have teams that have the chance to qualify for, make, and then perform well in the college football playoff, which nets more money for the ACC and frankly gives it a path to being solvent in the future rather than catering to the lowest denominator where for years the ACC is worried about keeping the little guys like your Boston Colleges, your Duke footballs, your Syracuse's happy rather than saying, hey, either keep up or why do we have you in our conference?
And keep in mind, there's already tension with Florida State and Clemson still. Jim Phillips went to bat for Miami to get into the college football playoff over Notre Dame. He's already dealing with that. You don't want to upset Miami.
No, and I'll throw this one out there too because it relates to but the Virginia Tech Hokies, James Franklin, I would, if I'm Virginia Tech fan, I would prepare for him to take the same stance of a Miami, Clemson, a Florida State of wanting the ACC to push for more for its best members in football, where Virginia Tech, I do believe, has a path to getting to that point. And not everybody can win well in the ACC, but I think we've touched on it before, but there's a clear delineation of programs that want to win in football in the ACC and the programs who say they do, but I think you can really scratch your head about the level of commitment they can or will ultimately choose to make. Meanwhile, asking the question, why?
Number 3.
Andrew Jones, Carlos Beltran, and Jeff Kent are all heading to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. All right. First of all, Braves fans can rejoice. Yeah. Andrew Jones, while he had his moments of laziness, was a really fun player to watch. He was one of those players that just made the game look cool and smooth with the way he could hit and the way he fielded, sometimes too lackadaisically with noted errors where he would not really stare the ball in, hold it, squeeze two hands with a glove, and then make sure he secured the catch. But he had a level of swagger and ultimately performed at a very high level. Carlos Beltran, good enough stats, got more notoriety once he got out of Kansas City and went to New York. The Jeff Kent one is the one that cracks me up, though. So we're letting him in, but we're not letting in Barry Bonds, even though Jeff Kent's production in San Francisco was largely a result of the presence of Barry Bonds himself. And Manny Ramirez doesn't get in. Baseball, out of all of them, has this whole infatuation with policing player behavior when it really is an irritant. Every year I say it, but every year it doesn't change, and I don't expect it to. So every year it's worth repeating this. Have a wing in the Hall of Fame dedicated to controversial players or managers in the game. You can put Pete Rose in there. Yep. You can put Manny Ramirez, Andy Pettit. You can put Roger Clemens in there, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, David Ortiz. We can keep the list going if you really want to. All of these guys performed at a high level. All of them took what was at the time deemed to be controversial performance-enhancing drugs, even though, honestly, I believe in sports, players in professional sports now use certain things all the time. It's just a matter of what can get masked and what can't because they're all trying to expedite their recovery time while the owners want them playing as many games as possible because they want the revenue. And again, I've never viewed PEDs in the light of gambling. Gambling in games involving your team, that's the death knell for me because it threatens the integrity of it. PEDs, bad as it may be to some, you're still trying to enhance your performance to play or perform at your best. So I can at least respect it, even if I don't agree with that. But baseball's insistence on just pretending like this happened, it's beyond an eye roll at this point.
It's a broken Hall of Fame system that needs to be fixed. And I hate that these guys have to wait to die before they get honored in the Hall of Fame.
It's the most arrogant approach possible, as you can imagine. It's playing policing. And again, to get my usher on for a second in the fast lane, I was once the guy who voted against Buzz Williams being ACC Coach of the Year because he didn't talk to the media. And that was in what we'll call a more childish and mature manner. Honestly, if I had to do it again, I just wouldn't care. I make it performance-based, and that's it. And, there are plenty of guys that are kind of D-bags. Art Monk never talked to the media. He got, blackballed for years from the Pro Football Hall of Fame because of it. Barry Bonds is a grade A jerk. Warren Sapp, we mentioned him yesterday in the fast lane. Blocked me, blocked fast lane Ed Lane on Instagram. But yet, even in spite of that, I'll admit Warren Sapp is a Hall of Fame worthy player in the NFL. Maybe a gap. Grade A, starts with P, rhymes with, we'll go with my Uncle Rick. Shout out to him. Read into all of that as you will. They're all in the same category. May all be high maintenance, may all be hard to deal with, but ultimately worthy based on their accomplishments. Meanwhile,
number 2,
Robert Kraft yesterday said and all but confirmed that there is going to be an added push once again by the NFL owners to get to an 18th game in the near future in the NFL season. Look, this is going to happen at some point. The delay on this and the concessions from the players union will be harder to gather now that the NFL has had to transition its leadership out of the disastrous Lloyd Howell era. But inevitably, the owners want this. They'll sacrifice and trim it down to 2 preseason games. And inevitably, I think the biggest concession will be at least 1 extra bye week for the players, but it means more revenue. And as much wear and tear as there is on the players, if the owners can show to the players there'll be more revenue and can concede more to it, it's going to happen. Kraft noted the league is going to, quote, push like the Dickens, end quote, to make it, quote, more of an international sport, end quote. And that is why they will go to 18 games, where every team every year will play at least 1 game overseas. The NFL is hell-bent on this. Again, whether we like it or not, I think the quality of international football we can scratch our heads at, put it in the Thursday night football category. But ultimately, we still consume it. And ultimately, if that's the case, they don't care about anything else. This is how the owners act, and this is how the owners sell it. And Jeffrey Lurie added, by the way, the Eagles owner, the goal is to make football the 3rd sport behind soccer and basketball in many countries out there. Again, maybe a bit ambitious, but the NFL owners always seem to set their mind to this. Meanwhile, speaking of, in
number 1,
we look at why the NFL has this infatuation, because there's a reasonable question. The Panthers picked up the 5th-year option for quarterback Bryce Young at the beginning of the offseason. And I think the Houston Texans should pick up the 5th-year option for quarterback C.J. Stroud.
Great.
It's low enough where you're looking at, 15, 20 million a year, which relative to the quarterback position, that's a good rental price considering guys like Baker Mayfield are in like the $33 million a year category. My question, though, is if either of these teams give a big extension, I don't think Young is going to get one in Carolina, and Houston should not give one to C.J. Stroud. If they do, and why the infatuation with these type of extensions? Tua in Miami, Daniel Jones in New York, Jared Goff with the Detroit Lions, Baker Mayfield got the best deal out of them all. I'm okay with the Baker Mayfield deal. You pay him well enough, but you don't go overboard in extending it. Because for these players, you need to ultimately prove yourself over a period of time. And if I'm a franchise, I'd rather find the next type of player. Sam Darnold doesn't make sense. Let's see if we can replace him with Daniel Jones. Let's see if we can replace him with J.J. McCarthy. Let's just keep finding these type of players. Do not overpay because you're overpaying and tying up money. If you're going to do that and shortchange your skill position talent and your linemen, defensive players around a quarterback, I completely get it. For a guy like a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen, the expectation should be carry your franchise. But for guys that are more hold pieces, they need some assistance around them, have a different financial scale or let them walk. Meanwhile, we'll get into the weeds in just a moment in the fast lane. But if you're into a tussle when it comes to battling the insurance companies after an auto accident, Trost Law, they have the experience to help you navigate those type of scenarios. They have
not 1, not 2, not 3.
Not 3, but 4+ decades of resolving cases, battling insurance companies understanding the complexities of legal scenarios that unfold with an accident. That's why you need an ally on your side, and that's why you need to remember 777-HURT and TrostLaw.com. Now, Liberty, Virginia Tech, Wednesday night basketball. We get into that as we get.
The haters say we get into the weeds. They may even say we get into the weed.
Smoke weed every day.
Nah, we love getting into the weeds to discuss some cool sports details here in the Fast Lane.
So, Virginia Tech and Liberty both play on the road tonight. And the question inevitably comes into whether or not they can return to form from what they showed over the weekend. Liberty plays first, so we get to them first, hearing what he said and what he meant. The big thing, and Brent Decker Jr. mentioned this, but Liberty did a great job when it started to unravel the 16-point deficit or 16-point lead to UTEP vanished. They got after loose balls. Now, Richie McKay, not surprised, mentioning this is ultimately a program pillar and something they expect because they recruit to it.
It's an expectation of ours. That's a responsibility when you put on that jersey. Like, let's be fully invested and be a great teammate. And some of those aforementioned things necessitate you like maybe sacrificing your body a little bit. And again, but that's part of our vetting process when we're recruiting. Like, will guys care enough about us or trying to get the desired result more than they will about individual stuff? And I think that's been fairly consistent since we've had our group here. That's what they're pursuing.
That's what they pursue. I think it's the standard at Liberty, but it gets hard. You have to do it night in, night out. You're on the road. Western Kentucky is one of the better teams in Conference USA. And Liberty, I'm not saying they want to lose, but it may not be the worst thing in the world to get tripped up at some point just to take the pressure of an undefeated regular season off, because carrying that into the conference tournament gets you the bye. But I ultimately feel like if you're Liberty, you want to push yourself enough and maybe you suffer a loss, but those are often great reset moments. But you want the effort to still be there, and getting after the 50-50 balls is a key. Brent Decker Jr. mentioned that as well. You need that from him and the other players to still have that level of attention that they've had in plenty of seasons, in plenty of games up to this point in the 9-game winning streak.
Coach preaches a lot, get the 50-50 balls. That's what's going to separate the game. Like, whoever gets the most 50-50 balls is probably going to win. So, Coach preaches that a lot to us.
Getting after it, diving on the floor, being aggressive, because you're on the road now. And the little things add up even more when you're on the road. Liberty doesn't have much of a bench, but bench scoring traditionally is an asset when you're at home. And Western Kentucky can count on that to be an advantage, whereas a lot of Liberty's opponents, when they
Go home to Bel Air.
do not have that when you get on the road. Bench points generally favor the home team. Liberty doesn't have much of a bench. I wouldn't hold my breath. They're going to get a lot there, but you're going to need the things to make up for the fact that Western Kentucky has that to their advantage. Meanwhile, for Virginia Tech, they have finally crawled back to level in the ACC at 3 wins and 3 losses. Syracuse, it'd be a quad 1 win for now. If they go on the road and win, 8:30 airtime tonight, VTR and Sports app against the Orange. But for Virginia Tech, you want these things that you did well against Notre Dame to continue to carry over. One of them is being aggressive. Because as Mike Young mentioned, the physicality ultimately takes a toll on opponents.
The physicality, I think, of our bunch takes its toll on opponents as the game wears on.
It has. And it has for Virginia Tech, including being more attuned to getting to the free throw line and then converting on that, which was a justified point of pride for Virginia Tech. I don't think as much against Cal. I know they shot the ball well from the free throw line, but all the misses came late when Virginia Tech just couldn't quite close the game out. Against Notre Dame, the misses came late, but they were comfortably in front, and that's where Virginia Tech was proud of the free throw shooting, but you got to win on the margins again, especially in tightly, evenly matched games on the road in the ACC.
Very much so. Very much so. Shot a lot, not as much Thursday as we did on Friday. And our numbers have always been good. Our numbers on Friday were good. Needless to say that that can cost you. It has cost us this year.
It has. The free throw shooting. And again, on the road for Virginia Tech, we've seen it cost them. SMU's an example. Stanford fits the code as well. it's been an issue. They had moments where they might have put the game away a little bit better against Virginia in the triple overtime win on New Year's Eve. All those things add up. You add into it rebounding, because Virginia Tech, the rebounding has been better. It was fantastic against Notre Dame. They were as aggressive as you'd want, but you got to keep that up.
Good. I was thinking about it over the last couple of days. How are they have a lot of long rebounds, and their guards do a nice job of pursuing. Harrelson's a big young man, Sir Muhammad, and others. I don't want to give up 13 offensive rebounds. There are a lot of missed shots. Rebounding numbers can be misconstrued at times because of a variety of things. You're getting the first stop, and that carom is coming all over the place. But the numbers are what the numbers are, and I've got a good rebounding team, and that will continue to improve as we go along.
It's got to, especially with Toby Lawal back for Virginia Tech. I know Tyler Johnson's injury continues to loom over the Hokies, but you've got Lawal back. He gives you more size and athleticism inside. It's the expectation. All of this boils down to the simple fact that, look, they're in the ACC. They're at 3-3, but you're going to have more of these matchups where you need to find a way to scrap a win, especially with Louisville on the docket this weekend.
We're going to have a bunch of knockdown dragouts. So you either built for it or go do something else. And I'm really looking forward to it. All those experiences, 4-0 in overtime, the experience in here against, those others that it didn't work out for us. We learn from and fight like hell to not let it happen again.
And especially for Virginia Tech, here's an underrated reason as well to wrap up our chat today. You're at Syracuse tonight, 412-6. You're a game and a half up on them in the ACC standings. It's the front end of two road games, often easier. Who knows how screwy the schedule is going to get for the Hokies this Saturday with the inclement weather that's expected to come into the area. They have a 3:30 game at Louisville, but does that get moved? If not now, maybe on short notice. Moved up, moved around. You want to grab one while you can and then be in a more comfortable, relatively speaking, spot. Similar for Liberty. Their game against Delaware this Saturday has been moved from a night game, 7 o'clock, over at to a Saturday afternoon in Bel Air, which no doubt will please Bryson Gordon, although he failed to mention that today, although he didn't know about the game time being changed because that happened after his appearance on the morning warm-up, but you can still listen to it.
And guess what? We keep receipts.
At the morning warm-up, wherever you listen to podcasts or VTR and Sports on Facebook Live and YouTube. Speaking of weather delays, by the way, high school, Mother Nature just doesn't want Heritage and EC Glass to happen.
Oh.
It's been postponed a couple of times. Think we're in the clear for tomorrow night, but the game next week, hold your breath. Is Bob Alvis? We'll ask him next here in the Fast Lane.
Your trusted dealer serving Southwest Virginia and surrounding areas for over 50 years. With more selection, more value, and more finance options. Plus, your trade is worth more. Shop local and save more with straightforward pricing, plus exceptional service and selection. Your search ends at the Motor Mile. Choose from over 900 quality pre-owned vehicles, plus a massive selection of new car brands in Southwest Virginia. Honda, Hyundai, Toyota, Subaru, Kia, Chevrolet, Mitsubishi, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Plus the used car superstore. 11 new car brands, 900 used vehicles at one location. Volume selling means volume pricing, and we've got more than any other dealer in the area. The Sheeler Motor Mile delivers choices. Here's the difference. Sheeler owns the finance company and makes getting approved for credit simple and easy on the Motor Mile. Flexible financing options for every budget to get you on the road fast. Get more on the Sheeler Motor Mile with a certified friendly staff and no games, no gimmicks. I-81 exit 118C in Christiansburg. Call 866-SHEELER1. Always open at Sheeler.com.
At the Farmers Bank of Appomattox, we believe personal banking should be as rooted in the community as you are. Whether managing your business banking, saving for your family's dream home, or juggling daily expenses with our mobile app, we offer tailored solutions with a local touch. Experience the security of a bank that knows your name and the convenience of modern technology. Visit us today to grow your financial future right here at home. The Farmers Bank of Appomattox, your community, your bank, your future.
Hey, small to medium business owners, if you're frustrated with slow IT support, high costs, or paying for services you just don't use, it's time for a change. Hi, I'm Colt with We Fix Stupid Computers. We provide reliable on-site and remote support tailored for businesses just like yours. And we go beyond just fixing problems. We empower your staff with real tech knowledge so they can work smarter every day. From repairs to training to full IT support, we save you time, stress, and money. Call We Fix Stupid Computers, 434-525-8590, where smart support meets real savings.
new year can mean new changes in your life. But you know what will never change? The great deals that you get on InsaneRadioDeals.com. And we don't just feed your taste buds, but we feed your adventurous side, your hobbies, your interests, with great rates on Rise Up Climbing Passes, Aquatrek Adventures, and Cross-White Athletics Club. Or if you're a sports nerd like me, we got gift certificates for a SeaofRed.com and BNC Sports located at River Ridge Mall. All this and more at InsaneRadioDeals.com.
Step into the Fast Lane 24/7 at Trey Lyle VT and Fast Lane Ed Lane on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, back to the Fast Lane.
Mother Nature. It's just wreaked havoc on high school sports schedules. Boys basketball, girls varsity basketball. EC Glass at Heritage. That is likely going to happen tomorrow, January 22nd, Thursday night. But the January 27th game scheduled to take place on Tuesday of next week. Holding your breath that one's going to transpire. Bob Alvis, the Sports Buffet podcast, with us here in the Fast Lane. Bob, hopefully things are more sane for you than they are for athletic directors who are planning for what might be a very chaotic next couple of weeks.
You know what? I was listening to your Fast Five, and I went and got you a rocking chair to have with me so we can sit on the porch and yell to all the people, "Get off my lawn."
Yes. Where, all right, which lawn do we need to get off of? On what?
Whoever's. We just both, I think, have a lot of, hey, get away from me, 20-something. Get away from me, 25-something. Get away from me, 30-something. So we can do it together. I'll share.
I'd be down with that. We could get those rocking chairs set up. We could scream at that. I would say go to InsaneRadioDeals.com and and do it at a restaurant, but I don't want to burden them with the black eye of my potentially negative antics with that. So we'll hold off on that. Bob, that being said, is there an added sense of urgency for EC Glass and Heritage for the game tomorrow night, knowing that it's been a while since you've gotten this game underway, and now you don't even know what's going to happen with the schedule next week, given Snowmageddon 26?
There is a contingency plan in place. I'll say that for the next game. But tomorrow night's game should go on as scheduled. Everybody, don't pick up any phones and call in any threats or anything like that, and we should be fine. DJ Best from EC Glass kind of used to this because they're used to kind of sitting, playing type thing. I mean, we talked with him at Media Day, and he talked about how, this group is kind of, they've gone to team camps, then they've sat and haven't played for a while. This doesn't bother him, but he wants controlled chaos tomorrow. Pressure to where you don't know where pressure's coming, and, just like control the chaos.
You mentioned the controlled chaos and the attitude of this. EC Glass. Some people have said they're head and shoulders the best in the Seminole District. I think LCA would like to have something to say about that a little bit later. But have they asserted themselves at least to being the best team in the district, given that they happen to have that win over LCA, and until they meet again, that is an understandable and reasonable tiebreaker?
Yeah, I was going to say, in all fairness, a lot of people have had stuff to say, is EC Glass the best in the district, and they have not answered affirmatively that they are the best in the district. I think EC Glass is really, really good. I think EC Glass can probably do some damage when it gets to the region tournament. I think LCA is a good team too, and they beat Western Albemarle, which is going to help them out. I think they could do a little bit of damage when they get to the region tournament. Both these teams are in different regions. Liberty also is in a different region. They're in region 2B, which is absolutely loaded. But, I'm sorry, 2C. I think I said 2B or 2C. Letters, they confuse me. But Liberty is in a loaded region too. I think every team is going to do better once you get out of the region, or once you get out of the district, because they're better suited for region. But I think EC Glass is the best team in the Seminole, but other people can disagree.
It's to be determined who is going to be the best in Region 2C, which is the loaded region that features schools like Nelson County, Gretna, Floyd, and Martinsville out of Southside and Southwest Virginia. Liberty's in that as well. We've rattled off a number of teams, and I know I'm missing some also. Dan River qualifies for that too. Is this the most loaded you've seen from a basketball region, especially in a lower level of basketball? I mean, this is a lot of good basketball.
It's up there. I mean, I've seen Region 3 loaded in the girls before. I've seen Region 3 loaded in boys. I mean, there's always an area of the state that's trouble. And it used to be the Valley was trouble for the Seminole in terms of if you had to go to Spotswood or the former artist known as Robert E. Lee, now Stanton. But I think those days are probably, I don't want to say gone, but I don't think they are I don't know, gapped as they maybe once were. And I'll tell you this, DJ Best and a lot of people in Lynchburg will say Region 4 runs through the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a reasonable one for Region 4 with the way EC Glass has played. The ones that are loaded in particular, and Glass has earned the right to make that distinction, history and recent performance aside. But going back to Region 2C for a second, when you've got a district in a region that's that loaded, am I off base in saying that, if you want to try to figure out, who's the team that's best equipped to make it out of that region, am I reasonable to hold my breath and say, I'd rather wait till we get to maybe early March and we have an idea of who's healthy and how all these teams are playing right then? Because those are big factors when it seems to be this tight.
I think that's probably close to accurate. I think Liberty is really good. I think Nelson is built for high school basketball with Colton Ward and Bryce Giles. I think they're built. After that, Brian Harmon's a great coach at Floyd County. Gary Hall is a very, very, very good coach at Martinsville. Oh, yeah, and don't forget about Gretna and Dan River just floating there as well. I think Region 2C is loaded, but I would side with you. Let's wait a couple more weeks and see what happens.
We mentioned all the regions in 2C to wrap it up on this, but a little bit differently. Colton Ward for Nelson County committed to Roanoke College. He's the latest, but for a program like that has been really good in basketball, has had a core, and now they've got some results to show for it. How big of a deal is that for them?
I think it's a big deal anytime somebody commits from your school, because I think it's more of a big deal because it shows the kids that are in youth level or maybe one day coming up, hey, you can get out of Livingston, or hey, you can get out of blah, blah, blah place. Not saying Livingston's a bad place, but if your aspirations are to play at a higher level of basketball, why can't I? Now, granted, Ward's a big kid, which helps out, but why can't I play? Why can't this person play? So I think it does more good for the school and the community just as much as anything.
Bob Alvis of the Sports Buffet podcast is with us here in the Fast Lane. We always enjoy connecting with him. Lots of good content. If you missed it, Fast Lane, Ed Lane, where you listen to podcasts, because
And guess what? We keep receipts.
right there, and also at VTR and Sports on Facebook Live and YouTube, where we have plenty of our content archived. Pivoting away from that, we touched on EC Glass. They do battle Heritage tomorrow. Do you expect a dogfight? Do you expect EC Glass to be as dominant as they have been? What are you expecting in that big matchup in the Seminole District against two of the biggest rivals in the region?
Yeah, and I don't like to get on bulletin boards, so let me say John Hanley's also in Region 4, and they're really good too.
I remember that.
What I expect out of EC Glass and Heritage is anytime those two meet, throw the records out, throw the woulda, shoulda, couldas out, because it's a different. I didn't go to EC Glass or Heritage, so it's a different. I don't even understand it because I've seen it so many times, but I didn't go there. And I think it's a different thing because, again, these kids see each other. I think more than other kids do. I think I don't know. It's just a different rivalry. If I had to pick, I would probably lean towards EC Glass. But again, throw the records out the window.
Yeah. So you bring that up. Is it similar to football in the sense that, we saw this, last year, where EC Glass was not having a great year in football, better this past year, but 2024 was not a banner year. But in spite of that, they mustered it up and really were able to almost salvage the perception of their season with a victory against Heritage. Is it now maybe the other way around, where Heritage good, but not on the glass level this year, big picture, but this is a chance to really make their statement on the hardwood?
Yeah, Heritage will be okay, by the way, once they get into the regions, as we talked about. I think it's a little bit similar. I think football has a different level of insanity because everybody, comes out to football games. Basketball and other sports don't have the attendance or the notoriety level. Not that you're not doing a good job with it, but, go to a gym and see how many people are there. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but people need to get behind basketball and all the other sports like they do football. But I think it could help Heritage immensely. And you and I both know that sometimes one win can be a catalyst.
Yeah, it can. And we bring that up now with Region 4 with Bob Alvis on the Fast Lane on W227 BG Timberlake, WVGM, Lynchburg, WMNA, Gretna, Danville, Southside, and the VTR and Sports app. Because for Jefferson Forest, look, they were one of those programs where they just needed that. And they got a spark, and now they've won 4 in a row. I know Stanton River, maybe not the best, but you had good coverage of that matchup last night between the two Bedford County rivals. What's the difference in terms of the level of confidence and performance for the JF Cavaliers with Coach Monroe?
I think the difference in confidence is when you win. When you win one and it can lead to two. I mean, the last 4 wins have been against Rustburg, Brookville, Lord Botetourt, and Stanton River. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I like all 4 of those guys, but these are probably not the state champions of the world right now. So I think for Jeff Monroe's squad, it's just getting confidence, getting wins, and hey, now we're going to have all our momentum stopped by Snowmageddon 2026.
Yes, indeed. That's the best part about it. Bob, the best part is your analysis is fantastic. We always love and appreciate it. And thank you for joining us today here in the Fast Lane. We'll talk a little football next time.
Let's get in those rocking chairs.
Bob Alvis with us here. We're rocking our way to the end of the Fast Lane here today. Thank you for joining us. Tomorrow, it's TJ time, 5 p.m. here in the Fast Lane. Now, on to ESPN Radio, Freddie and Harry.
Is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi.